Hi everyone, today's video I'm going to be showing you my eyeshadow palette collection, and this was a really last minute thing. I didn't plan to do this video today, but I filmed a very spontaneous makeup collection on one of my last vlogmases, and I opened my eyeshadow palette drawer and I thought I haven't actually done a video on these yet, and I've committed to doing 4 videos this week as well as the 4 vlogmases that are going up. So today's is going to be the first main video of 4 this week. You'll be getting one Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday as well as today. So I'm going to start by showing you my palettes, and these are palettes that I have built up and built up. They're in no means something that I've just been out and bought. Many of them are presents. I might start with the more affordable ones and then make my way up to the more pricier end. And this first one is actually the first palette that I ever bought about maybe 3 years ago now, 4 years ago, when I first started getting into watching YouTube videos and makeup and beauty and things. I found this palette on Amazon and I think it was about £15 at the time. It's really icky and gross now because not only did I use it a lot when I first got it, but now I tend to use it more for like Halloween or fancy dress because I don't use it on an everyday basis. And this is by BH Cosmetics and it's 120 colour palette eyeshadows. This is the 3rd edition palette. They have loads and loads. There are so many of these available now. So on the top you get these 60 colours, which are all kind of neutral, bronzy, greeny, purpley tones. And then it does come with a ribbon so that you can easily take off the top palette, but my sister pulled it off. And then on the bottom it's got these really bright colours, which is why you can probably see that I use this for fancy dress. But if you've got like a daughter or a niece, cousin, friend that's into makeup, this is just a really great palette that's not very expensive, but it's got everything you would need in it, and it's just a great way to like play around and mess with makeup without spending a fortune on an eyeshadow palette. So this is my first palette that I ever bought. Today for some reason there is so much background noise. Next door I've just started hoovering. There's someone drilling outside. It's pouring down with rain and you can hear it on the windows, but I need to film today and I need to film now, so I'm really sorry. We're just gonna have to ignore the background noise for now. Next I have this Technic bronzing eyeshadow palette. This was from a shop called Body Care, and in here you get 6 eyeshadows which I think are beautiful. The palette looks like this when it is closed, and then you get these 6 shades. So you get like some bronzy shades, purple tones, some really light ones, and when you swatch them they're actually really highly pigmented, like really highly pigmented. So I thought these would be really nice. I haven't actually used this yet. I need to test it. I want to write a blog post on it, but I just thought it was like £2.99 or something. It looked bargainous, so I picked that one up and that is part of my collection now. Next on the lower end I have 3 collection eyeshadow palettes, and these are all of the Eyes Uncovered palettes. So I've got 2 of them which are the normal ones, and I've got the nude palette and the nude bronze palette, and then I've also got the Little Mix edition. So in here, in the Eyes Uncovered one, the nude bronze, you get some really gorgeous shimmery shades. It's very similar to some of the Urban Decay palettes that I've owned. Really pretty. And then also in the nude palette they're more matte rather than shimmer, and this is again a good dupe for one of the Urban Decay palettes. And then the Little Mix one I tend not to use as much. It's got a really nice matte black at the end, which is handy, and then some really nice metallic-y golds in the middle, and then also like a shimmery nude at the end, which is good for like a brow highlight or the inner corner. So these pretty much are like really good day-to-day eyeshadow palettes. They're really handy for travelling because they're so small and they're so affordable. My next palette is one from Sephora which I bought when we were on honeymoon in New York, and I can't remember what this one's called because it's got no name on it, but it's like a croc metallic-y casing, and it's magnetic, and then on the inside they're just these really gorgeous neutral shades, then a few colours like this green and purple, which I really like. It's a really nice palette. I really like Sephora products. Their own brand is amazing, and the brushes, and you get like an eyeliner and also a brush in here, which are really handy. Okay, so I'm trying to go up price range, and the next one that I think is probably the next cheapest is the Stila in the Light eyeshadow palette, which is a very hyped up palette, but it's so worth it, and I've used this a lot. This palette has got the most gorgeous shades in, and Stila eyeshadows are absolutely amazing. There's not a lot of fall down and they are so pigmented. Kitten is probably my favourite and most used out of this palette, and then I also really like this one. I tend not to use these colours as much because I think these are more like going out nighttime colours, and you probably all know that I don't do that a lot. So I really like this palette, and it's just one that I always find myself going back to. Next we'll go to some classics that you're probably all expecting as part of this video anyway. The first one is the Naked Basics 2 palette. I decided to get the second one because I thought that there was more colours in this one that suited the way that I wear my makeup more than the first one. This one's got more kind of like cool tones in it, and I just found that the shades of this one suited me better than the shade of the first one. So this one, they're basically all matte eyeshadows, which is gorgeous for when you want just a matte eyeshadow look, and it's just got all the colours in that you'll need. If I don't just use this palette on its own, if I just want matte eyeshadow, because I tried to get more into matte eyeshadow this year, I will often use like a shimmery eyeshadow, but use one of these in the crease. Really good, like they're really buttery, easy to blend, really creamy. A really nice formula for matte eyeshadows, which isn't always the easiest to find. And it's a handy small little palette again. And then probably palettes that you'll all expect to see as part of this video. I own all 3 of the Naked palettes. It started off with Naked 1, I think I got that as a present, and then Naked 2, and then Naked 3 came along, and I think it's just like I held off on Naked 3 for so long, and then I just caved. When there's offers on and things like that, I just can't help myself. So you probably have all seen these before, but the Naked one is probably my most used. It's got a real variety of shades in there, ranging from neutrals to the bronzier, more darker shades up here. Some of them are quite similar to the Stila palette eyeshadows, but I really like this. My only gripe with the Urban Decay shadows are that they have quite a lot of fall down. So whenever I'm using these palettes, I always do my eyeshadow first and then my base, my foundation and things like that. Naked 2 is probably my least favourite out of all of them. This one, I don't really like the tin packaging to start off with, and then this one has got more kind of khaki neutral shades in, and I tend not to go for all that much. There's not many. They're quite silvery and they're not really my thing. I don't know, I do use it and I love them, but it's not my favourite palette to use ever. I don't think there's anything stand out in that one. The Naked 3 I really like because this one is all pinky, purpley, rose gold tones, which look really pretty. This is one of my most used palettes. I just love the purple tones in here. Even the darkest shade is like a really deep purple with little flecks of glitter in, and this one is really pretty, and there are some gorgeous shades in here. So this one was definitely worth picking up, and I really like this one. Also got the Naked Smoky palette. It's not really my kind of colouring, my kind of shades. Again, they're more like deeper dark shades. And I would tend to use this if I was going more on a night out, because there aren't that many neutrals, which is what I tend to wear on a day-to-day basis. So I do really love it. Again, the gorgeous eyeshadows, they're such good quality from Urban Decay. There is a lot of fall down, but they're so highly pigmented, I think you have to expect that. And there is actually a really gorgeous glittery silver in here. And for any of you that like the more purpley, darker, deeper shades, there are some gorgeous mattes at the end, so it's not just fully shimmer. This is a really nice palette, and I do prefer this packaging to the more tinned ones of the Naked 2 and 3. Next, I want to show you my Stila palette. This is another one, and this is the Eyes of the Window shadow palette. And I have the one which is in Soul. I think there are 4 different ones of these, and they're like Soul, Spirit, they're all kind of like spiritual names. The packaging is absolutely gorgeous on these. It's really small and compact, so it's handy for travelling. You get 12 eyeshadows in here that are all a really good size. They're not tiny, teeny eyeshadows, so they'll last a really long time, and they are just absolutely gorgeous shades. Like, this is the perfect palette for me because there's some kind of like pinky purpley shades, there's browns, there's neutrals, and then there's some darker smokier colours if you want them for going out in the evening. And there's a matte which I always use as a brow highlight. I don't really like too much shimmer as a brow highlight. I love this palette. It was definitely worth the purchase. I think I'll move on to my Too Faced palette next, and this is the Chocolate Bar palette. I got this last year for Christmas off my mum, and it looks like a chocolate bar. It's like brown packaging. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing packaging, I have to say. It's just, with it being dark brown, I know that what they're trying to do, because it's supposed to be a chocolate bar, but I just think it could be prettier. And then on the inside they're laid out like kind of like standard Too Faced eyeshadow palettes. It smells like chocolate, they smell divine, and this is an absolutely stunning palette, and I really need to use this one more if I'm honest. It's got a real mixture of shades in here, so you get some purpley plummy tones, and then also the kind of like khaki bronzy golden tones. You get a shimmery highlight and then also a matte highlight, and they're really gorgeous. They're such good quality eyeshadows and I really like using this. Next I'll move on to my Lorac Pro palette, and this is something that I ordered online on Amazon and got it shipped over here quite a while ago now. It must be nearly a year ago. This is so hyped about on YouTube, and I know why, and because it's so hyped about, I hardly ever use it because it's just so pretty, and it was, I think it was maybe $45. The packaging I don't think is very sturdy at all. It's very slim and compact, which is nice, and then when you open it, these are the shades. So on the top row you get 8 shades that are really quite matte, but they're so buttery, like it's ridiculous. The quality of these eyeshadows is amazing. And then the bottom 8 are all shimmery, and they all kind of go together, so you can really mix and match the look. I just absolutely love this palette, but it does look quite messy, but that's because I swatched it for a blog post. I haven't actually used this one all that much, but I really need to. It's just gorgeous. I tend not to use eyeshadow palettes in tutorials that I know aren't easily available in the UK or to everybody, or the more really expensive ones, just because I like to use things that I know that a lot of you can get hold of. But I think one day I'm going to have to use this in a tutorial because it's stunning. And now we have my guilty pleasure. My babies, the things that I love most probably in all of my makeup collection, and they are my MAC eyeshadow palettes. I've got 3 that I've built myself and then 1 that I bought ready-made. So I'll go through the ready-made one first, and this is the MAC eyeshadow palette in the Warm Neutrals. I bought this in New York when we were on honeymoon last year, I think 2 years ago now, last year. And this basically is a palette that gets ready-made for you. So MAC have already pre-chosen all of the colours and you buy it ready-made. And I liked this one because first of all, I didn't want to buy a palette that I already had the shades of, or that I could easily get the shades of. With this one, the majority of them are limited edition or only available in the pro stores, so they're not that easy to get hold of. So I thought it was well worth investing in. And the ones that I do already have that are in here are like my favourite ones anyway. So you get some really gorgeous shades, they're all neutrals. Next I have my most used MAC eyeshadow palette, and this is what I like to call my MAC neutral palette, but really it's not, it's just the one that I use every day. It's probably got my most favourite eyeshadows in here. So this is one that I built myself, that I've had for years now, and the only one that I'm really hitting pan on in here is Satin Taupe. The other one that I'm hitting pan on is Naked Lunch, but I think that's in another palette. So in here I have my matte cream shade, I think this is Brulee, which I use all the time. Satin Taupe is one of my favourites, and then also Antiqued. Like, there are so many in here that I love, and I get so much use out of this palette. I've got 2 more palettes that have kind of got a mixture of other MAC eyeshadows in, and there are a couple of spaces in here because I've also got some of the, you know, like the mini 4 quads just to like travel with, and obviously some of them are in there. This one has got a real mixture of eyeshadows in again. This one is Coppering, which is a gorgeous shade, and this one would probably be in my other palette if I had room for it. This one is more like my colourful one, if you could really go that far. And then my last one is more neutrals again, the more boring-y, browner shades that I tend. This one is probably my least used one, and you can tell because they're just kind of like the normal shades, although I really like this one in the middle, which is a really shimmery one. That's Honey Lust. I managed to get a massive chunk out of that one, which is really annoying. And then I really like Green Smoke. This is one of the first ones I ever bought. Retrospect. I've just got a real mixture of them, and I just seem to build up my collection. I love buying MAC eyeshadows because I think the quality is amazing, and I love being able to select them yourself and kind of move around and mix the palettes up. They are all my eyeshadow palettes. I need to start using them more and more often because I tend to be, especially the more expensive ones, I think I'll save them for a special occasion, but then they don't get used enough because I don't have that many special occasions, so I need to start using them more and more often. I've just filmed this makeup look and it's going to be tomorrow's video, which is like my Christmas Day festive look, which isn't too over difficult or overbearing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave me any comments if you've got any opinions on any of the palettes that I've got, if you've got any of them, if you want to ask me any questions on them, if you want me to go into any more detail of the palettes that I've got, or if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know. If you did like this video, please subscribe. It means the world to me, and I will see you all very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.